and sometimes even bemoan the vigorous media and civil society organization scrutiny that characterize public discourse. It gives me quite satisfaction and great pride to hear young Ghanaians today who believe that criticizing the President of the Republic and challenging government proposals are normal, regular activities. Some of the young people listen with incredulity when they hear about a Ghana that was once without private radio stations, and people had to tune into foreign stations to hear critical and opposition voices. Today, there are some 550 radio stations in operation in this country. In spite of all its shortcomings and difficulties, the people of Ghana have shown admirable commitment to multi-party democracy and have not fallen for the instigations to resort to the violent overthrow of an elected government. The past 32 years of the Fourth Republic have witnessed the most sustained period of stability and economic growth in our country. And we should be proud of what we have achieved and seek to protect and build on it. And that is why the theme for the 67th Independence Anniversary celebration on 6th March in Koforidua is Our Democracy, Our Pride. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to report on the progress we're making in the administration of justice. This past year, a total of 76 judges and magistrates were appointed. They comprise the new Chief Justice, 2 new Justices of the Supreme Court, 23 new High Court judges, 29 Circuit Court judges, and 21 new magistrates. 262 staff were recruited to address some of the human resource gaps created because of the newly established courts throughout the country. In January 2024, 3 additional justices have been appointed to the Supreme Court to replace 3 justices who have retired from the court. We've made unprecedented progress in the provision of court buildings and residences for judges around the country. In 2020, government set out to construct 120 courthouses with residential facilities nationwide. As of 31st January 2024, 67 courthouses have been successfully inaugurated and are in use at various sites around the country. 12 completed projects have been slated for inauguration by the end of this month of February 2024. The remaining 21 projects are at various stages of completion and are expected to be completed and inaugurated before May 2024. In addition, 121 residential units have been constructed for judges throughout the country. Further, 20 fully furnished 4-bedroom units, together with social amenities, have been constructed for justices of the Court of Appeal in Kumasi. The project is not yet complete, but we have done enough to be able to say that we have resolved the problem of the disgraceful state of court buildings. The attention now is to the digitalization process of the courts to modernize the entire system. The Judicial Service has undertaken a digitalization initiative to modernize legal operations and foster greater access to justice. A virtual court system was introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure the continuity of business. The virtual court system was also rolled out to 17 courts and subsequently to 19 high courts for the smooth hearing of court cases. By the end of December 2023, 160 courts had been equipped. I do not intend to go through the long, even if interesting process of enumerating the projects the Akufo-Addo government has undertaken since coming into office, their location, and what stage of completion they are in. Mr. Speaker, with the best will in the world, there simply will not be the time to do that, even if we spend all day here. It will be recalled that last year, during a message on the state of the nation, faced with a similar problem about road projects, I came to the House armed with a fat book that had the details of the road projects around the country, and all honorable members were given copies to go through at their own leisure. I haven't heard anybody point out one. This year, we're taking things to a higher level. This government, after all, is the digitalization government. And the man who has led the entire digitalization process these past 7 years my indefatigable Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, Dr. Digitalization, the MPP's excellent presidential candidate for the 2024 election, is coming up with what will allow everyone and everybody and anyone to check on every project being undertaken by the government without having to listen to the President's message on the state of the nation. We are calling it the Performance Tracker. You can check and satisfy yourself about the status of the projects and their location. And you could stop by and make a physical inspection if you were so minded. Mr. Speaker, if you want to check on roads, classroom blocks or chip compounds or Agenda 111 hospitals, or bridges, or science laboratories, or water projects or sanitation projects, or landing sites and harbors, and other infrastructural projects, or whatever this government use your tax money to execute, the key to your query is right there on your phone. Mr. Speaker, the Performance Tracker will be formally launched in March, and I'm offering it as the device which will help bring accountability into your hands. With the Performance Tracker, we can be sure that never again will pictures of an artist's impression be offered as projects that have been completed. I'm able to recommend the Performance Tracker in the sure knowledge that the Akufo-Addo government has done more in education in terms of student enrollment, teacher training and employment, provision of infrastructure than any government. We have similarly done more in health, agriculture, security, roads, railways, tourism, digitalization than any other government. Thanks to the Performance Tracker, the President no longer has to go through lists. And I have the confidence to say that every performance indicator used shows we have done more in these 7 years than in any of the 8 years under the National Democratic Congress. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, On coming into office 7 years ago, my government took the decision, as we promised, to modernize and formalize the economy through digitalization. In this regard, we have embarked on one of the most far-reaching Mr. Speaker, come what may, I will have my day in Hansard. I will have my day in Hansard. Come what may. Good evening. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, on coming into office 7 years ago, my government took the decision, as we promised, to modernize and formalize the economy through digitalization. In this regard, we have embarked on one of the most far-reaching digitalization exercises in Africa. Up from the figure of 900,000 which we inherited when we came into office in 2017, we have thus far enrolled 17.6 million on the Ghana card, and therefore provided unique biometric identity to the majority of Ghanaians. We've also implemented the digital property address system with unique addresses for all properties in Ghana. Furthermore, through the implementation of mobile money interoperability, we've also provided access to financial services for adult Ghanaians through mobile money accounts that are interoperable with bank accounts. Ghana is now ranked #1 in Africa in terms of access to financial inclusion. We have digitalized the provision of public services at the ports, DVLA, NHIS, GRA, births and deaths, Registrar of Companies, ECG, Ghana Water, amongst others. Ghana is ranked #1 in West Africa and #7 in Africa in e-governance. We have also implemented the use of drones in the delivery of medicines, blood, and vaccines. And Ghana currently runs the world's largest medical drone delivery service. We have also networked all teaching regional and district hospitals, and patient records can easily be accessed in these hospitals without the need for a folder. Ghana is making giant strides in the area of digitalization, thereby improving transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the public sector, and accelerating the growth of our economy. We are definitely going to be part of the digital revolution that is sweeping the world. Mr. Speaker, last year when I came to the House to deliver the annual message on the state of the nation, we were in the midst of negotiations with the International Monetary Fund. We were faced with a very difficult situation and had to take a lot of unpleasant but unavoidable measures to bring stability and confidence back to the economy. These included tax measures that we did not like, but we knew we had to take in the knowledge that the medicine would be bitter but temporary. Mr. Speaker, a year ago, I also stated the decision to undertake a comprehensive debt restructuring of our domestic and external debt to ensure we remain resolute in our objective to restore macroeconomic stability and sustainable growth. The decision was not an easy one, considering the complex and diverse domestic debt landscape. We had to consider safeguarding the financial sector, preserving social and economic conditions, and protecting our domestic debt market. A year on, I'm happy to inform you, Mr. Speaker, that we have made significant progress. We requested an unprecedented number of bondholders to participate in a voluntary exchange, and we were able to exchange successfully some 203 billion cedis worth of bonds. Not only was the exchange successful, but it helped us to secure within 5 months, the shortest possible time in recent debt restructuring history, a staff-level agreement to an executive board agreement with the IMF. My gratitude goes to all financial sector players, organized labor, firms, regulatory institutions, and all individuals who made this painful exercise successful. Mr. Speaker, as you may recall, government successfully paid the first coupon of 2.3 billion cedis on the new bonds on 22nd August 2023. At the time, that was the single biggest payout of domestic payments in a single day for Ghana. We then paid 2 billion and 60 million cedis for the last leg of the domestic debt exchange on 5th September 2023. A week ago last Tuesday, on 20th February 2024, the second coupon of 5.8 billion cedis was paid to domestic bondholders. This is the largest coupon paid in a day in Ghana's history. On the external debt side, we achieved a significant milestone by reaching an agreement with our public creditors. And I'll use this occasion to express our appreciation to the Republic of France and the People's Republic of China, co-chairs of the Official Creditors Committee, for their positive roles in this achievement. We have also intensified our engagement with our external bondholders on the principles of transparency, fair treatment, consistency with the IMF debt sustainability analysis, and good faith. We are focused and committed to accelerating the process. Mr. Speaker, we're committed to concluding the external debt restructuring process as soon as possible, so we move past the crisis. This will enable us to complete substantially projects that have been constrained due to financial challenges. In the meantime, some of the priority projects have been transferred onto the GOG budget with the same fiscal space to ensure their completion. This will enable the Kumasi International Airport, with some 98% complete, to be completed by May. Other projects like the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, CATH, maternity block in Kumasi, the Takoradi Interchange, the Betebilamti Interchange in Accra, the University of Environment Sustainable Development Project at Bunso in the Eastern Region, Phase 2 of the construction of roads in Tamale, and the construction of the 84-kilometer railway line between Tema and Nakosombo would also be completed. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to announce that an alternative source of funding has also been secured for the reconstruction and completion of La Hospital project as a fully functional modern hospital with the necessary equipment for diagnosis and treatment. The contractor has been paid an advance mobilization of 15%, representing some 7.5 million United States dollars, and work has begun. The project commenced effectively in January this year and will be completed in 28 months. Mr. Speaker, it is important to underline that the recent change in the leadership of the Finance Ministry will not affect government's determined commitment to implementing the terms agreed with the IMF to ensure that we restore the economy to healthy growth as soon as possible. Indeed, the macroeconomy was much stronger at the end of 2023 than in 2022. Inflation, which peaked at 54.4% in December 2022, has reduced to 23.5% in January 2025. Real GDP growth for the first 3 quarters of 2023 averaged 2.8%, higher than the targeted growth rate of 1.5% for 2023. The CD has been largely stable since February 2023, with a cumulative depreciation of 9% between February and December 2023. Gross international reserves reflected a significant buildup of over 5.9 billion United States dollars, enough to cover 2.7 months of import of goods and services. The current account turned positive at 1.4% of GDP at the end of September 2023, from negative 2.1% at the end of December 2022. Generally, the macroeconomic indicators are once again all pointing in the right direction. I should point out that in all our discussions with the fund, a paramount consideration is being to ensure that the poor and vulnerable do not bear the brunt of the sacrifices that have to be made. Programs like LEAP, school feeding and capitation grant have been protected and indeed enhanced. Mr. Speaker, right from the start of this government coming into office, we have sought to place the maximum effort on the education and training of the youth as the base for building the prosperous nation we seek. A foreign statesman once posed the question, and I quote, "Why am I the first member of my parliament in 1,000 generations to have gone to the university?" Unquote. In the past 7 years, I've met many people, young and old, across the country, who have told me about the first person in their families, in their communities, to have gone to senior high school. They might well ask the question, why are they the first boy or girl in their family to have gone to senior high school? The answer is not far-fetched. Not being able to go to secondary school for lack of money was so widespread and accepted phenomenon that it led to some people thinking senior high school was not meant for them or their children or for people from their village. And therefore, a child in the family finishing junior school and moving on to senior high school was simply not factored in their expectations. Mr. Speaker, free SHS might be labeled by its distractors as a mere political slogan that must be demonized, but it is in fact a transformative program that has broken myths and liberated minds. It is humbling on one hand and frightening on the other to think of the sheer number of talents the free SHS has unearthed that would otherwise have ended their formal education at BECE. I know we will get more engineers, doctors, architects, scientists, writers, and poets out of the increased numbers of those attending senior high school who will go into further education. Even if they stop at high school, at senior high school, imagine what 1 million more secondary school educated young people will do to our self-confidence and the value of our workforce. That alone makes free SHS worthwhile. I'm proud that the NPP government under my leadership has been able to bring this transformative policy into our education system. Mr. Speaker, I believe the success of the free SHS policy has answered its critics, and the arguments about it should cease, and we should simply concentrate on finding ways to improve it. I'm particularly glad that the fears about lowering of standards have been allayed. Refreshingly, we witnessed through the 2023 batch of free SHS students the best waxy results in over a decade. Mr. Speaker, there's more to education than free SHS. And government has been paying equal attention to all the other sectors. Kindergarten, primary school, and junior high school must work together to give a solid foundation and strengthen the free SHS policy. The implementation of various programs, such as the capitation grant, feeding grants to special schools, BEC registration for pupils in public junior high schools, among others, have significantly increased access to education at the basic level. The focus of the comprehensive reforms within the sector has been to improve learning outcomes and ensure every child that goes through our education system is equipped with literacy and numeracy skills by the time they exit primary 6. A national standardized test for numeracy and reading skills is now being conducted at primary 4. Unfortunately, quite a number of children still manage to slip out of the net and miss going to school altogether or drop out at primary school. The Ministry of Education partnered with key development allies to launch an innovative financing program called the Ghana Educational Outcome Project, GEOP. The goal of GEOP is to provide educational support to 72,000 out-of-school children, helping them access complementary education and transition into formal schools. I'm happy to report that 17,340 out-of-school children have been taken through the program and mainstreamed into formal schools in 2023. This program has worked so well, it won the GovTech Prize Award in February 2024 at the World Government Summit held in Dubai. Government has remained committed to improving the teaching and learning of STEM education at the pre-tertiary level. Key interventions have included increasing our ability to produce STEM professionals and also meeting 21st century skills. Accordingly, the curriculum has been overhauled to include STEM career pathways such as aviation and aerospace science, biomedical science, engineering, computer science, manufacturing, robotics, and artificial intelligence. Government has also increased its investment in infrastructure for science, technology, and engineering and mathematics, STEM education at the pre-tertiary level. The construction of 10 STEM schools and 10 STEM centers has commenced across the country, with 7 STEM model schools having been operationalized. These schools have been equipped with state-of-the-art laboratories and classrooms, dormitories, assembly halls, dining halls, and conducive environments to foster teaching and learning. The operationalized schools have a total enrollment at present of 2,400 students reading general science and STEM. Mr. Speaker, in recognizing the critical role of technical and universal and vocational education and training in the country's industrialization agenda, the government continued implementing key reforms in the TVET space, including the expansion of the free senior high school program to include students in public TVET institutes. Mr. Speaker, a lot of resources has gone into the provision of infrastructure at all levels of the educational system, but a lot remains to be done. Many basic schools require more adequate classrooms and furniture, and the environment in some of these schools can be made more suitable for learning and teaching. Some of the senior high schools, especially the community schools recently absorbed into the former GES structure, lack the facilities that these established schools take for granted. We must all express our gratitude to the teachers in such schools who manage, in spite of the difficulties, to bring out the best in their students and sometimes succeed in achieving great results. They exemplify the best in the Ghanaian and give us hope for the future. Indeed, the one tablet per student policy at the senior high school level is being rolled out and will formally be launched by me next month. It is a great tool to help bridge the gap between disadvantaged and privileged students. Mr. Speaker, free SHS and our no guarantor policy under the Student Loan Trust Fund are breaking down financial barriers for students seeking higher education. By eliminating the requirement for a guarantor, we have empowered students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds to pursue their education aspirations without undue financial burden. This has meant a substantial increase in the number of students seeking tertiary education. And it is in response to this increase, the government has decided to establish 4 new universities in Mampong in the Ashanti region, Akrodie in the Bono region, Boso in the eastern region, and Kintapo in the Bono East region, and expand the facilities in existing ones. We are pursuing interventions towards achieving by 2030 the 40% gross tertiary enrollment ratio, up from the current level of 18.8%, as well as the 60-40 science to humanities ratio from the current one of 40 to 60, as captured in the Education Strategic Plan of 2018 to 2030. Mr. Speaker, between 2012 and early 2017, there was nothing more demoralizing than the phenomenon we called doomsday. It was symptomatic of a dysfunctional system, and it caused widespread depression amongst businesses and households. After that experience, my government was determined that doomsday would not be inflicted upon Ghana and Ghanaians under an MPP government. Shouts will not wish doomsday away in our history. It will not. After that experience, my government was determined that doomsday would not be inflicted upon Ghana and Ghanaians under an MPP government. And I'm glad to be able to say, so far, so good. We have managed to keep the lights on these last 7 years, even in the midst of a financial crisis. We manage the energy sector with discipline and expertise to avoid a repetition of the hardships inflicted on Ghanaians some years ago. Furthermore, through determined skillful negotiation, we have been able to reduce considerably the energy sector debt that we inherited. Indeed, the government negotiating team carried out a successful reconciliation exercise with the IPPs and ECG, which established that the IPP arrears position was not the $1.6 billion that had been previously reported in the media, was actually $1.2 billion. That is savings of some $400 million. Additionally, the government negotiating team has reached commercial agreements on headline terms for the restructuring of power purchase agreements and arrears with AXA, Amandi, SemPower, Senate, and Early Power, and is finalizing remaining definitive documentation of such terms, which will result in total expected savings in excess of $9.1 billion over the lifespan of the IPP projects. In the meantime, ECG has been able to secure a fixed monthly energy purchase price with all the IPPs. This has led to a monthly payment of $43 million United States dollars instead of the $77 million United States dollars. That is monthly savings of $34 million, or a 44% reduction in monthly payments, a far better outcome than the take-or-pay system we inherited. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to report that we're making admirable progress in the provision of electricity to all parts of the country. Last year, 207 communities were connected to the grid, taking the current national access rate, electricity access rate to 88.85%. We are aiming to achieve universal access this year by connecting an additional 400 communities to the national grid under the self-help electrification program and other 10 key projects. As part of efforts to improve power system reliability in the middle and northern parts of Ghana, government took a decision to relocate the 250 megawatt Ameri plant from Abuazi to Anwamaso in Kumasi. The Volta River Authority has successfully relocated 6 units of the Ameri plant with capacity of 150 megawatts, which are currently being tested and commissioned in Kumasi. The authority is taking steps to relocate the remaining 4 units before the end of the year. Mr. Speaker, we're also making steady progress in our commitment to increase the component of renewable energy to our energy generation mix. A 4-megawatt floating solar PV on the Bui Reservoir, as well as the 15-megawatt solar PV at Kaleo, have been completed and both are operational. We have contributed to increasing our share of solar energy in the generation mix to 3.2%. A 100-megawatt solar PV is under construction at Bui, as is the mini-grid electrification program ongoing in the Adan East District, all of which will help us attain our target of 10% renewable energy in our generation mix by 2030. Mr. Speaker, furthermore, we have committed ourselves to the development of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. As I indicated at the U.S.-Africa Nuclear Energy Summit and the International Framework for Nuclear Energy Cooperation Ministerial Conference held in Accra in November last year, the first of its kind in Africa, our energy transition plan envisages 30% of our electricity production to be from nuclear energy by 2070, which is the core mandate of the Ghanaian Nuclear Power Program Organization, GNPPO, an entity under the office of the President. This strong commitment and position are geared towards the provision of clean and affordable electricity to drive our industrialization agenda. It is also meant to position Ghana as a net power exporter in the ECOWAS region through the West African Power Pool. Mr. Speaker, we have also succeeded in having the Secretariat of the Climate Vulnerable Forum, CVF, an intergovernmental forum of 58 of the most climate vulnerable countries, representing some 1.4 billion people located in Accra. Mr. Speaker, we have all heard about the Gold for Oil program. It has been explained, debated, and talked about. At this moment, all I want to say about it is that the Gold for Oil program has worked well and reduced significantly forex pressures on bulk energy storage, transportation, and bulk imports. Distribution and export companies enable them to negotiate more competitive premiums with suppliers. Premiums dropped from $180 to $200 per metric ton to $70 per metric ton or less. This also resulted in reduced and stabilized prices at the pumps of between 12 to 13 cedis per litre for the whole of 2023. We're taking steps. We're taking steps to rectify some of the handicaps that have limited the full participation of Ghanaians in the oil and gas industry. For years, the well-paid jobs in the industry were taken exclusively by foreign nationals because we did not have people qualified in these fields. Last year, 150 young Ghanaians were trained and certified as mechanical maintenance technicians, electrical technicians, instrumentation technicians, and production process technicians up to the industry standards. Additionally, 5 young Ghanaians underwent a 10-month welding inspector training program at the North Alberta Institute of Technology in Canada. They have since been placed in various technical institutions in Ghana as instructors. Ghanaians will soon fill the well-paid positions on our oil fields because we have the trained and qualified personnel. Things are looking up. Mr. Speaker, it is quite likely that the most talked about subject in our country is roads and highways. When I appeared in the House last year, as I said earlier, I took the extraordinary step of coming with a fact book that detailed all the works that the government had done and was doing on roads since coming into office in 2017. I believe it was generally agreed that it was impressive, but it was not enough to satisfy everyone. Well, the work continues, even though some of the major road works have been temporarily interrupted as a result of the debt negotiation. As I said earlier, all the details will be available on the performance tracker. Other modes of movement around the country are being built and upgraded to open up the country and make travel easier. Mr. Speaker, the new standard gauge railway line from the port of Tema to Mapakada in the Asyl district of the Eastern region, covering a distance of some 100 kilometers, is at the final stage of completion. By the middle of the year, the line will be commissioned for operations to commence with brand new standard gauge diesel multiple unit trains, the first of their kind to be used in our country. It is worth mentioning that a road bridge is being built across the Volta as part of this railway line. I have no doubt it will attract a lot of interest. I'm a great believer in the importance of aesthetics as much as the practical, and that is why I encourage the constructors to construct the railway bridge which was not a part of the original contract, across the Volta to make the journey more scenic. Really made me choke on my glass of water. Extraordinary statement to make. The development is on course of a new standard gauge Western Railway line to serve passengers, the mining sector, as well as support industrialization to boost the development and growth of this nation. The plans for the extension of the railway line to Paga might not materialize during the rest of my administration, but I'm sure they will not be abandoned. Mr. Speaker, there's no argument that food self-sufficiency is the basic requirement for national security and the foundation for building a prosperous nation. Last year, government reviewed the Planting for Food and Jobs, PFJ program, which had been implemented since 2019. Based on lessons learned, government developed and launched, under the dynamic leadership of the new Minister for Food and Agriculture, everybody who knows me knows I don't drink alcohol.
So, my catcher said, State of the Nation's address, and the update in the pray ebe bro. Update in the pray ebe bro. Na kufu I don't know gusua or kasano. Na oshe ne kasana na onum su kakra na watu aso onum kakra no watu aso chese na do o kasapa na ye wie de emunchemu bebra mu nti wososo tamchuku na fa comment ne bra na ye wie message ne ye beba na oso wa bebetie bi nsema ekoso no nyina de bebra na kufu ado ye obeka ye obeye ni nyina ye de bra na ososo onya see na wakamo de a charity for Madam Assistant Mosheme. I hire Rejoice 101.7 Rejoice Media TV. My name is still remain DJ Ike. Yamishram. You try one basis here, never to us. You better assist here.
We have every intention of meeting the domestic production targets for poultry this year, 2024, and moving on to production levels that will lead to reduction in poultry imports. We envisage a vigorous cooperation between government and the private sector to achieve the set target. Mr. Speaker, the surest way of making agriculture attractive to young people is to take the drudgery out of farming. And government is continuing to make agricultural machinery and equipment easily available. Under the third and final tranche of the Brazil More Food Program, tractors with accompanying implements, power tillers and with accessories, maize shellers, units of combined pharmacists and rice millers have been distributed to farmers, processors, and mechanization service providers on hire purchase agreement. This year, under the Indian Exim facility, tractors with matching implements, planters, boom sprayers, combine harvesters, and corn pickers will also be made available. Mr. Speaker, having determined that large-scale commercial farming is the easiest way to achieve our set goal of food self-sufficiency, government under the second phase of the PFJ will establish agricultural zone as a complementary initiative to address the issue of access to large tracts of agricultural land, to drive sustainable and commercially oriented agriculture. This will significantly expand Ghana's productive capacity in products such as rice, soybean, maize, and tomato. Indeed, Between 2021 and 2023, rice imports fell by some rice imports 450,000 metric tons. This healthy trajectory will continue until we achieve full sufficiency in rice production. For each agricultural zone, government will partner with the private sector to provide the necessary irrigation infrastructure, develop access roads, expand power, solar and hydro, and provide mechanization services. Various locations across the country with potential to be food baskets have been identified for the establishment of the agricultural zones. They include the Afram Plains, Chopoli, Kumuru, Kratchi, and Nkranza, amongst others. The Speaker, we all witnessed a spectacular increment of the cocoa price from 800 cedis per bag to 1,300 cedis. To 1,300 cedis per bag in the current cocoa season, the highest increase in 50 years. With the current trend of the world cocoa price, cocoa farmers can be sure that I will do right by them in the next cocoa season. Mr. Speaker, government has begun the development of 7,100 hectares irrigation infrastructure in 5 identified economic enclaves within the Afram Plains agricultural zone. Work is also continuing towards the completion of the Temne Phase 3 extension and via irrigation schemes. This will make additional 1,150 acres of irrigable land available for cultivation of rice and vegetables. The Ghana Irrigation Development Authority will continue the development of small earth dams in the northern, upper east, upper west, northeast, and savannah regions to support the One Village, One Dam initiative. Whilst at it, Mr. Speaker, we have not forgotten about the welfare and well-being of our fisher folk. My government has completed the construction of 12 coastal fish landing sites at Axim and Discove in the western region, Moray, Montfort, Winneba, Senyabreku, Gomwafeta, Otram, and Infantsiman in the central region, Kessi and Osu in the greater Accra region, and Kita in the Volta region. Additionally, I had the pleasure in May last year of commissioning the newly constructed Elmina Fishing Harbor in the central region, much against the hopes of the naysayers. And God willing, soon this year, I will also commission the Jamestown Fishing Harbor, which currently stands at 88% complete and is expected to be ready by August 2024. The Speaker, to help address the incidence of premixed fuel diversion and hoarding, government last year completed the installation of 50 out of the 300 premixed fuel automated dispenser. My expectation is that the remaining automated dispensers will be installed by September this year to help optimize the distribution of premixed fuel. Government will continue to take decisive actions, such as the close season, to help safeguard the ocean's capacity to regenerate and to continue to deliver substantial economic, environmental, and social value for our development. Mr. Speaker, last year, Ghana regained her position as the leading producer of gold in Africa, having overtaken South Africa. Our gold production reached an unprecedented 4 million ounces, according to preliminary reports. This is as a result of the progressive policies we have been implementing. which have led to the revival of dormant mines like the Obuasi and Viviani mines and the expansion of existing ones. The reduction in withholding tax on unprocessed gold by small-scale miners from 3% to 1.5% has resulted in some 900% increment in gold export from the small-scale sector over the last 2 years. Leveraging on these resources, we introduced the innovative gold for oil policy, which accounts for some 30% of our total crude oil consumption. Currently, 3 large-scale mines are under construction in Afro, Upper East, and Upper West regions, with Cardinal Namdini set to pour its first gold in the Upper East region in the last quarter of this year. With these new mines, our gold production is expected to increase to some 4.5 million ounces annually. Mr. Speaker, to add value to these volumes of production, we have constructed through a public-private partnership a 400-kilogram capacity gold refinery, and we're in the final stages of negotiations for a London Bullion Market Association certificate. For our green minerals, including lithium, we have put in place a policy for their exploitation and management to ensure beneficiation across the value chain of these critical minerals. The Speaker, as it has been widely reported, Neiman Corporation, the world's largest gold producing company, which operates 2 huge mines in our country and is constructing a third, has announced its intention to sell its Achin mine in the eastern region, the 3rd largest mine in the country, which produced some 420,000 ounces of gold in 2022. As part of government's policy to modernize the mining sector, to indigenize the mining sector, we will engage with Newmont to give priority to Ghanaian investors who will want to acquire this mine to ensure that our mineral resources better benefit the Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, we continue to work to ensure the protection of our forests and wildlife resources while reclaiming degraded forests. Some 42 million trees have been planted over the last 3 years under the Green Ghana project, and some 690,000 hectares of degraded forests have been cultivated between 2017 and 2022 under the Ghana Forest Plantation Strategy. Mr. Speaker, the main cornerstone of our move towards the industrial transformation of Ghana is the One District, One Factory policy, this government's iconic flagship initiative. It demonstrates how government can stimulate and incentivize the private sector to expand and diversify manufacturing across the country by harnessing locally available raw materials. It is significant to note that within the relatively short span of 6 years, government has directly intervened to stimulate interest in and support many private sector business promoters to make significant investments in manufacturing under the One District, One Factory program. Mr. Speaker, this has led to the development of 321 IDF 1D1F projects consisting of 211 new medium to large-scale factories and the conscious enabling of 110 existing companies to inject significant capital investments into the expansion of production facilities and diversification of products. These business promoters have so far invested in 142 districts across the country, across all 16 regions, and achieving 54% district coverage. The aspiration is to bring a 1D1F project to every district. Speaker, within this period, some 170,000 jobs have been created under the novel ID 1D1F program by companies in operation. The Speaker, government approved a number of incentives, including duty exemptions to support the implementation of the 1D1F program. In 2019 and 2020, 37 1D1F companies were granted exemptions approval by this august House. However, from 2021 to date, no exemptions have been granted. Mr. Speaker, I urge the House to consider and approve all the outstanding exemption applications as a matter of urgency. To send positive signals to the business community. The exemptions law that you have passed provides for such exemptions under existing laws. To speak of the other initiative aimed at stimulating industrial growth that we have been actively promoting is automotive assembly and component manufacturing. It is universally recognized as a key strategic sector for stimulating industrial transformation. The comprehensive automotive development policy launched by government in August 2019 has undoubtedly been the catalyst that has attracted a record number of 12 original equipment manufacturers, including Volkswagen, Toyota, Suzuki, Nissan, Peugeot, Kia, Hyundai, Honda, to set up assembly plants and produce a range of models here in Ghana. The Speaker, it is noteworthy that these investments have been accompanied with complementary initiatives to build the necessary engineering and technical skills in Ghana. Toyota Ghana has partnered the School of Engineering Sciences at the University of Ghana to establish and operate a modern auto engineering training center for engineering students and the industry to acquire applied auto engineering training. Similarly, Kia Motor Company of Korea has upgraded the Rana Motors West African vehicle assembly with state-of-the-art equipment for training of auto repair and maintenance technicians, including repair and maintenance of electric vehicles. Mr. Speaker, to spur our industrialization, we're implementing the 4-project agenda of the Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation, GHADEC, with projects 1 and 2 having already taken off. And last month, we signed an agreement for the implementation of Project 3. Mr. Speaker, we will lay before this august House, at this first meeting of this session of Parliament, a legislative instrument to prohibit the export of bauxite in its raw state. We're also in the concluding phase of discussions for the establishment of a $450 million United States refinery to refine the manganese we produce. Speaker, we have all long acknowledged the trade between African countries must increase if we are to make any headway with our dreams of prosperity on the continent. I'm happy to report that the setting up of the AFCFTA with headquarters here in Ghana is beginning to show positive results. Ghana is one of the 7 countries selected to participate in the Guided Trade Initiative, GTI, of the AFCFTA Secretariat. And this has enabled us to make significant inroads into East Africa, notably Kenya and Tanzania. Over 700 AFCFTA certified products from Ghana, like cosmetics, processed foods, beverages, coconut oil, shea butter, and garments have been targeted at the AFCFT market under the Guided Trade Initiative. I'd like to make special mention of Casa Preco Company Limited, one of our iconic local beverage manufacturers, which has commenced exports to the Kenyan market. It is the fact worth celebrating that many other Ghanaian companies now have set their horizons way beyond the shores of our country and see the entire African continent as the market to aim at. Mr. Speaker, in speaking about the workspace and jobs, our thoughts inevitably turn to young people and, for some people, to the formal sector and formal sector jobs. We often forget the formal sector employees form only a small part of the working population. This small percentage of the working population tends to be the ones that are covered by pension schemes, and unfortunately, the majority of workers in the country do not have any pension schemes. To that extent, in May last year, SNET launched a self-employed enrollment drive, SEED, an initiative which seeks to improve coverage and increase the contributor base of the SNET scheme. Since the launch of the SNED initiative, some 600,000 self-employed persons have been enrolled onto the program and now have some form of social security cover. Effective 1st January 2024, all pensioners on the SNED pension payroll as of 31st December 2023 have had their monthly pensions increased by 15%. This translates to 10.05% of effective increase for the highest earning pensioners and 36.37% effective increase for the lowest earning pensioners. The 15% indexation rate will result in additional expenditure of 697 million cedis. The total benefit expenditure for government under this SNED scheme alone is projected to increase from 5.4 billion cedis in 2023 to 7 billion cedis in 2024. Mr. Speaker, I believe we can say with certainty that in the tourism sector, Ghana is finally realizing her long-promised potential. Starting from the events and excitement of the year of return in 2019, Ghana has truly become an attractive tourist destination, with visitors' numbers increasing every year. December in G8 is now an established and increasingly attractive phenomenon, which brings visitors to our country in the month of December and has changed the events calendar around the Christmas holiday season in Accra and many other towns. Mr. Speaker, for the first time since the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park was constructed in 1992, government has undertaken a full modernization and rehabilitation of the facility. Since the commissioning of the modernized park in July 2023, the number of domestic and international visitors has risen dramatically. A national newspaper reporting on activities at the revamped park had a screaming headline which said, "Akufo-Addo resurrects Nkrumah." That gave me pause for a moment, but on reflection, I decided I would accept it, be it a compliment or criticism or in addition to the collection of sayings by elders. Whatever it is, since the commissioning, there have been 208,557 domestic and international visitors to the park between 14th July and 31st December 2023. Mr. Speaker, compare that, if you may, with the best performance until then, which was in the year of return in 2019, when there were 126,190 visitors in the year. Other facilities are being upgraded, and it's good to know that the private sector is showing interest in getting into the development of tourist attractive sites. Mr. Speaker, the National Museum gallery, which had been closed down since 2015, has also been fully refurbished. It attracted over 35 visitors in 2023, and I'm particularly pleased the school children form a good part of the visitors to these sites. The first ever Kente Museum, aimed at preserving the cultural heritage in Ghana, has been built at Bawumia in the Ashanti region and was recently commissioned by the Second Lady. Preparatory works and designs for the construction of the Heroes Park, a museum to commemorate the founding fathers of Ghana, the Big Six, J.B. Dankwa, Emmanuel Obeche Bilamche, Edward Akufo-Addo, Ebenezer Akwaje, William Uforiacha, Kwame Nkrumah, were completed in December 2023, and construction will commence very soon. Mr. Speaker, government through the National Film Authority is committed to supporting the production of world-class content and films, as well as increasing the cinema infrastructure in Ghana and by extension on the continent. To this end, a favorable fiscal tax regime for cinema projects, including income tax and VAT incentives, import duty exemptions on film production equipment, 20% tax rebate for strategic film productions and film financing reliefs is being elaborated by cabinet, which will be outdoored very soon and should provide another tangible reason for the choice of Ghana as a film production country. Mr. Speaker, in line with government's commitment to ensure gender equality, the revised National Gender Policy and the Affirmative Action Bill were approved by Cabinet in October 2023. The Affirmative Action Bill is currently before Parliament for consideration and approval, and we count on the support of members of Parliament for speedy passage of the bill. The Ghana Enterprise Agency, GEA, is implementing an Only Women Support Program where micro, small, and medium enterprises owned by women with the potential of scaling up their operations, increasing sales, and creating sustainable jobs will receive liquidity support. The GEA is also implementing the Youth Start program, a youth empowerment program which recently disbursed 100 million cedis to some 3,000 youth beneficiaries to upscale their businesses. Mr. Speaker, we're also implementing some interventions directed at providing support for persons with disabilities. In June last year, a significant boost was given to micro, small, and medium enterprises owned by persons with disabilities when government launched the 12 million CD PWD Enterprise Support Program. This grant support program, under the Ghana Transformative Project, is being funded with the support of the World Bank. Again, the Youth Employment Agency has initiated a groundbreaking employment drive targeting 282 persons with disabilities who used to work at poll booths. Speaker, let me now turn to football, a sport that is dear to the hearts of all Ghanaians. I'm sure I disclose no state secret if I state that I am myself an ardent football enthusiast and once played in the University of Ghana team with my friend, the late President John Evans Atta Mills, Fifi to me. Throughout the years, the national team, the Black Stars, has held a special place in the affection of Ghanaians. They lifted up our spirits as they dominated Africa and won 4 continental trophies. They have at other times broken our hearts, but it was not until 2006 that the Black Stars finally broke through to the world stage when they qualified for the World Cup for the first time. You remember that we rose up as one in our support, and they did not disappoint. Then came the spectacular South Africa 2010 World Cup and its drama, when we almost became the first African side to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup. It is fair to say that since the sad events of Brazil 2014, many Ghanaians have been left disappointed by some of the recent results of the Black Stars. Their various attempts have been made to revive the fortunes of the national team and rebuild the enthusiasm of the people with varying degrees of success. The recent AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire was probably the nadir of the performance of Black Stars and has left the nation saddened. However, I am quite certain that the young men and the technical handlers with themselves have wanted to make our nation proud. And I believe that the captain, Andrew Dede Ayew, meant every word when he rendered heartfelt apologies on behalf of his teammates to all Ghanaians for the team's early exit. Mr. Speaker, I believe it is time for us to take a long-term, far-sighted approach to correct what has gone wrong. It is time to return to scouting, grooming, and developing talent at the grassroots level under a presidential policy on football that I intend to unveil very soon. The School Sports Department of the Ministry of Education will work hand in hand with the Ministry of Youth and Sports in collaboration and synergy with the Ghana Football Association to build district, regional, and national juvenile teams for both girls and boys. The more than 150 AstroTurf pitches constructed throughout the country under this administration provide the foundational facilities to make a start as we strive to provide more of them. We should see a steady progression of talent up the ladder from the junior juvenile teams to the senior sides based on merit and nothing else. A similar approach has been tried before under the 5-year football development plan led by the late Ben Kofi, initiated under the MPP administration of President J.A. Kufuor. It was under this plan that talents such as Michael Essien, Sulu Mutari, John Mensah, Dave Boateng, and
Abusia for me wa call about Rejoice Media TV so ohwe me na also story no wa share na de amai ene da foforo obade ne de ama makacho se ene nanado ejina mu a the State of the Nation address no chese o press gidi na me ni abejafo hia ebedi nkomo no enko wi na wo no wa yishira na makacho se me ni akukudamfo na eden eti eba bedi nkomo na eba behwe nsema nanado aka no okusu a okasa de nanzo ne nsema no obi kan na ano wa yentimi nhwe ni nyina entie ne nanado kan ni nyina yesu yebetie na afi yaje amanfo adwenkyere wo susu betimi afre na wabasubi na ne nsema
football enthusiast and was played in the University of Ghana team with my friend the late President John Evans Atamils Fifi to me. Throughout the years, the national team, the Black Stars, has had a special place in the affection of Ghanaians. They lifted up our spirits as they dominated Africa and won 4 continental.
Namum, one a driver, it will be a BCB and over here, a sini one wajin name from so Eddie Atum. Yes. Nanado say on one a driver and 200 Bibiaba or Jitum. All right. Enti me ko studio bi na me ne abegyafo kwakuti nkomo na ohwe ha ohun se ena akukudamfo ete ha me hwe mini sani fanso obon se madam want hobi na me hu se Mr. Kromo so te hobi enti we dia me sam be fa microphone aja obi a edi kan na obi abonidin edi a chirtie for na omo hu ne mo ya no mo hu se yes ne me kan na enye ntro na medi na mum eye na kre ena maka edi a chire tie for no Mr. Kromo.
Mede Nana Kwabodru Cromwell Tema West.
Oh, okay. I see. Not just a Tema West and a war.
Tema West, I see.
Oh, okay. Tema West, maybe I told Tema West and original my MPP and I say NDC and how the original home will be. Oh,
with the Vietnam boy in the OBN say, what's a Cromwell now? I guess a MPP na but mo nipa original man is here.
Okay. I see. Nana hima so bebo ni din e de akire atiefo.
Me da wasi. Me yana na hima.
Okay.
Femi. Na no ye. The first. It's your chrome hima.
Okay. Nana hima meba dwumadi no so na yeba be start no. Ni edi kan no mami enko yensemi so State of the Nation address na nado nsema all kan. Waka nsem bebre na ne nsema a wokan no nana hima ni edi kan no enoma ben na wafa frim na nsema na wutusu se na nado beka no ene na obae a all kan.
Yo, misada wasibio ni akonya we. Yo, yen president Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Nsema ye expect so beka no. Meji di se no ano oka no.
Okay.
If you say ni awaye no, e no oka no. Ni awaye no, e no oka no. On kan manimru so. Ebi anim so a waka enka niema awaye ho. Me die me ka say Nana-Addo ayade pa. So u compare all presidents no a we who said Nana-Addo within 8 years nioma awaye no wayade obi tietie no a oka setia no a na nipa no has not been fair. Oye ade papa eno daso eye ade. Me die am say a handful of nioma ye. In fact, for one government no kra no a doors dodo. O share projects ni initiatives na a doors dodo for one government of 8 years. It's unprecedented. Na ni nyina to wa ye no to perfection. Ni ya ene say the communicators and those who are supposed to sell Nana-Addo ni nioma pano were not forthcoming. They didn't sell the man. Senya waso wo motono no. Eno no ankasa somewhere along the line no shot himself in the foot. Che say ono ankasa di nioma bia initiative bi odi beka ho no. Eno na ma I say smoke bi aba enioma waye ewo hu. Pardon than that dear. Obi osi Nana-Addo enya ade no. Na say nipa no akan kakra ana se bi onti governance ase ana se bi onti development ase enioma bi wo hwa enshow wo yen pocket dear a se ne ye ka se enshow wo yen pocket no no uhwe se be show wo yen pocket mo a ubehu se determinants no enye ne fault nia ebema nioma na aye reality e wo yen pockets mo no enye ono ne fault inti na enshow wo yen pocket mo. Okay. But nia eni behu anania asobeti anania wo sensa aya government bia e wo so oya wo ye no wa ye no to perfection pa inti mi manayiko me sama na yiko biom obi anma na yiko a me ma president Akufo-Addo ayiko na okọ no so okọ ni yie on with shame on with disgrace okọ ni yie pass wa be ye bia magana ni odi say na eyi a ebia maybe the next eyi no meka no. Okay. Yes, after we no maka. But to be very honest with you, Nana-Addo has done extremely well. Oh, okay. Very, very well. He's been a wonderful president.
Okay, that's fine. And Nana hima submission or chese on the ususu say Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo ni waye ne de waye. Mr. Kromo me pa cho over for microphone aja also maba also. Me pa cho eni diem Nana-Addo kasa wakai nyina no. No man ususu no ena wakan na na se ni wakan ni bisusu no ewo ho a woni ne ya adwan na se wo de woni ne nya adwan.
Yo, that's Mr. Akonya kese wi. Ye kan krepa Nana-Addo ni sema audit dwa no. We ni makum from education, health, security, any economy no. But ye kan krepa se nye politics nenye propaganda pa ka ban bia no homa obetimi na toto Nana Akufo-Addo ho. His Excellency Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. To be very honest and sincere, Ebano in terms of economy now, what say under this global crisis crown, this government has done very well, seriously well. Can we be? I'm saying now, fencing minority for no who about doom so.
Okay.
Ghana for na more former president Nikano, John Mahama, or say we have short memories. And Ghanaians really have short memories. See Bekaya, that doom so for almost years.
Okay.
In fact, I'm for Jumani already na say now go focus na that day. With all this global crisis, this government have been able to sustain Ghanaians up to date. Yet still, I'm for appreciate it. With me alone, Nanado, he has done well. He has done a serious well. Never be Homa Yaye. In Ocean Railways, never be Kosuna. And yet, you put no getting Gasabat. Young Kasayan people you need good communicators. If we really have good communicators, Anka and this election campaign. We don't need to campaign. We don't need to sell anyone again. Anka on my Nankasano, on my Munu, I'm for na bedding. Because I ban with ye, yes, saying, I ban be Abba. Anka yin campaign be but enam say, yin Timmy and Tone, you man panintino, na Akobanasa. I always say, party back on NDCD, or machinery from propaganda fencing machinery or home. Had fit out crowd almost set into had the cocoa almost say blue. No, almost idea a tone as say MPP party, no, as say Yempany for no. Now, yes, soon you are Panaya and able to join a fan to jar. Until say, yes, ye a day. Ye may home so, need me ye, you may be a bois MP party, no. Until me to me, dear, honestly, another Wakasapa. No kind now so a toss and I am passed away. Who couldn't free education any other citizen. No kind be no any idea old intro. Ghana no as soon. The other urban areas are in never be cost of home about education now. Where need a better social media. Yes, see. Sanamanina or Igusua. Rome was not built in a day, step by step. And I believe say by the end of his tenure. And I will be so a bit me at the Ghana, I call a pa. Into the Nado, why I did, Bonabaso, Bonabasopa, Senan Nahima, all can.
Okay.
Why I did.
All right.
But your other grievances be later, no, a bear, Shaniaka, also wants him.
Okay. Okay. And Nahima, with the pijama mukakra, dear mamma, ha. Yes. Na ye koso no me pacha so so wo hwe ya betimi aba dwumadi no senado comment aba number is 0240778682 betimi afre na so wa phrase mi no aka wo so wa dwenkere e de akere and mommy ye hwe ni senado ni nsam na wo kan ye peke bi 1 by 1 a ye be say nkasa mfa ho okasa fa inflation ho okasa fa free seches ho e na osan so kasa fa Ghana ye developmental project a ye de ye guso ye waka akokwa koduru ba bi say wo de developmental tracker eba a enkonko yete se kanibia ye nya tracker bia ase wo green book no be kwa kohwem ne awie project no ba be ko grants na enye den ye nya nwie me ba cho nanado ne yi na obeka yi nyina wadi kin akase nanado ayade ede ne nanado failure a ma Ghana for akolo panyin wo mapunu titru Ananka omoji nanado after Jesus Christ omoji nanado deeper with the whole world no. E dey na asesama obi ebo nanado sobo.
Well, me say me ka.
Okay.
Like I say, economy na sem no. E benam IMF.
Okay.
Wo moti say. E si ye nko IMF. Ensu yakọ IMF. Ebi ehyasie fidat say he's not worthy. He's just say he doesn't walk the talk.
Okay.
Na wa we see obi a wonye nyinyomo yie no na ekọ IMF na ba ne sen a wo si wa ya de yie na ne ukọ IMF.
Okay.
Ekọ na oppositions no esati say wo mu bonechi no ampe bibia yo wo mu akasankasa no wo mu nimpo say bibi sabeba nti e ho no wo mu hya ase say wɔn tarnish ne image na ɔno nso nneɛma no bi wɔ hɔnom a ɛyɛ sɛ ɛyɛ external shocks and external forces is beyond him enti ɛno nso ɛba no saa ayɛ sɛ obi KBP tia okra na wontumi nhyɛ dan defending wo ho because wonni ho authority.
Yeah, you don't have control over it.
Yeah, ankasa yenim say many of our problems no foreign influence eka ho pa.
Okay.
Edu honum a say oye NDC na oye MPP, you will be found wanting.
Okay.
Those are areas I me hu say eye na galamsey nso eka ho. If he says senior information shase eba wo galamsey hu no say nipa ye nyina ye kasa de mboaye na wo kwa na obi ato bomb wo se wo kasa no kwa nkrofo na eye nti sa ne o ma no na aye say unko fan evidence mbanso na evidence shase en sheda ma papa na wo kasa no wo be say na aye say edin say ya ne edinam
no correct.
Yes, who to me and can say, oh, me crofo me hwa mu hina na yesi na yesi na opposition so ye dwuma se wo mu ye wo madwen se wo mu capitalize on na wo mu edi asɛ no second issue a wo mu hya ase edi say nanado edin no if you say wo mu antumi and defend wo self enough say they are innocent about a galamsey. Ma ene ye hu sa sister ya Aisha one. Ye hu sa sister baby edi na asema kodu no a. Utumi hu say aban no na nka ye effort say ni obetumi aye no. Ebi ni baby a mami ye di na kodu yi. Enti many of the things are beyond him no dear. Ebe din. Obia ote ho no ebe affect no.
Oh, okay. I see. Nana. All right. Ati for hwa no subscribe na wa share na dia. Na mommy Mr. Kromo kan say MPP mo communication no e wo form. Na wan so kan wo ka say mo communication team no wo form. Enche bebre na yete say MPP mo de mo communication team no akwa to omo normal yeden. Egu omafa omo phone so akwhye no because party na nhwe communicators no me ba cho ebra sa no ma no bobo abaso no moteye na muhu ye na mpanfo no wo mu susu se omo tu hu na ma no ka se wo kwa onko omo kwa omo we dey anya hwe.
In the first place, Mecca say the introduction of communicators no crown was wrong. In my opinion, yeah, quite democracy is entitled to new opinion. The entire America say a year wrong, ni say ye decide position ma obi near restricted party members from talking for the party now. That is where I'm coming from. Say a year wrong, because Ushe previously no, Obia was defending the party.
Yes.
There was nothing like communicators.
Sure.
What you must say, communicators no so I am brandy woman say more dear communicators.
Okay.
And only one big problem, one big initiative party no yeah. Because no limit anybody from even talking for the government.
Okay.
But I think can't it no make jom carpenters who call baby construction for obieka yeah campaign my party was and our party or more person woba. There was nothing like some selected few for communication. Radio stations are doors who communicate a big or another radio station or casano. Now another station so offer a different person also can something different. Inti nania wo kana ya papa kra a whole area for no munti.
No correct.
Inti they should have encouraged everybody. What you see, these people can go on and speak for the government, but say moi yes say bibia tisa wo mu eni ade amane de adabraka. Akayen kakra. E yadia aha party no pa.
Okay.
Maybe they won't accept it, but from where I sit, that is what I see. Because time I am bebre yakasa for party no will be in call headquarters. obi nko party office nko share say mimi kasa ma party no enti hwe me say obi anka sasa
no correct
utima say obehu obi ti baabi oton ade Udu was mami dear MPP kunwo ubekwa ano hye MPP party
okay
regalia na obi beto ade a no oka no ton party no wonye communicator for the party but yet or ye juma no and that is what we should have encouraged over the time but rather no we killed that initiative and no na ma ade papa nanado eye entumi ba lamlight that obia engine tum anka baby wo baby a waye bibia obehu se hon mu krofo ni ka ukọ lorry stations wo ho a wo mu ka ukọ baby a trotro mu na utia wo hu ye wunti ye no bi e ka basisi what do we see chise communicator enu abeka na station no oti we ka no ebia na sa station kra mi mieda nti me na ati
no correct
if they can do something on it quickly they better work on it.
Oh, okay.
They better free their communication, free it, and let everybody who has love for the party speak for the party.
Oh, okay.
Ultimately, yemu DSSC aye who say adi papa na nado be ye nyina one issue or or declare in support direct plain ediche amount for say or supporting a vice. A dear identity pop in image pop. Okay. Take it or leave it. Because the loving show boy nana do down kwa kufuado awabe ya dear my young and Crawford dono. Bebre nim say obeyi nenim aye bibisa. Enti ayaw aye bebre ya. Enti ama bebre abu womani atu na di papa na oye no so.
Okay.
Bia won jintum but with time obehu say sister yi kai na saa na tie. Say he should have been behind the scenes. Senior once upon a time he speculated say Kufuor President Kufuor ex President Kufuor was for Alano. Wan nim plain sir.
Yes.
What ma see? Enti anka ni papa wo ye no still enontina still President Kufuor is still relevant.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that is why we
for
still will go to him
for not supporting any of the candidates in 2018.
Yes. But see and what draw line no? Emma ne hu say nkrofo omu ni sa papa yi wula na chese wo mu nya nkrofo.
Na o ma san ye lan nkrofo no bi so.
Wo hu. Nti na abema wo koi nkrofo bi ewo yaw ewo mu. Meanwhile no you have performed so creditably. Ultima see shim ye me ya pa. Me kan kwai na chel ye me ya pa because President Akufo-Addo abeya ade. Wa abeya ade pa. Wan yi nanim a anka ni mu ayi nyina oye ne behind the scenes a.
I see.
Anka at the end of the day ti say papa ni ni pe ya onu anu we nyan.
Okay.
Ultima see.
No correct.
Nti onu anu we nyan nti anka ye do no ana obi a do no odi manu no. Can still be there.
Okay.
Because to me hu nkrofo a wo mu do na nado ene wo mu ka ne ho ase wo be hwe wo mu din se first na nkrofo pen na do asem wo sisi a se ne nkrofo ka na asem no but wa ya ade nipa ya ade osayeyi.
I see. Mr. Kromo ma membra wo so se ne na hema e kan woni ne ya adwen se Nana Akufo-Addo adwuma de wabo bi pa because onya nhwe kura Ghana for ma wa hwe mu school e wo Ghana na ya de ketoa but ade ba ko a Nana hema susu se e ba be ya ade a identity image ye se primaries no okọ true no support eduman vice Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia na Ghana for so ekokwaje the other opponent no Kennedy a message no so tum so mu say there is a way forward no wusu say sa ade no ebedi Nana Addo achi ne nkwa na nyina ama manfo aka say no your best president but we mistake
yo mdasi no credit e ba kope nana hema kan enye say me fa no so ade a eda ho a Nana Addo waya man chino okwa I say obenyankophobia omo ho ombedi yopa because as a sitting president there say ekunyato our party mu na ade share pre ho a oni say o declare support mo bia or say oye neutral
okay
na omokwa akansi no but ono abi nanim ka say he would do anything possible means within his power and his control say Bawumia be winning ono na entwe yi
okay
what you say na ye DCs ni MPs any other stakeholders ni na so humanim company ma Dr. Bawumia ono de nanka high but say sa nkofo ni na no ni say obia yi nanim wo ye MP a also stay neutral ni say kire say wo ha sei sa no wo ye de ntwa yi kra na abato so no eyomamu ni nyina delegates no few selected MP for a ye yobama koto aba enye sa nkofo no be kire Ghana fo nyina adwen say ye na ya jiska ya bribe nti ye yi Dr. Bawumia nti chinchina chin say ekoto aba 2024 a entuma Dr. Bawumia because eba sa na amanfo no so no sisia na ko grants cramp no be se koto aba cramp a o say me so me den ye ma miska say ansana makoto aba because delegate akojisika obi akoje first 2000 obi akoje car obi akoje 5000 obi aje 300 obi aje 1.5 grassroots so almost omo ye bi ansana o ma eden o beto aba no so ayedin sisi an campaign na sakasa no hwema ayedin kakra ono na we na do ye no ono pe na ade a entwe ya emma MPP priority ni ye grassroots no campaign na kwedin kakra ono pe na ha yesisi a jama edwuma na eden ayedin amaye
I see and yemhwe say comparing Mahama to Nanado administration no India both 8 years no mu hwan na abeka say ne modern no wabo no ho modern
I say we dey the whole plane I say we dey asema the whole plane obi anim utimi mfa fence German compare fence administration compare cover administration because enema course oh German time na san no obi anim because be boss a ade be san o say na ade na do so aye so no because be boss ade be san na do wa ye djuma papa even crampo me nka crampo no me fa free chess example ono Jawama na ono amu na no onya free chess opportunity ko bia ewo northern region no crampo no ono pa support o se enya de be edwuma na o twen say 28 was years be ansana with my implement sa free education na or northern region any some other region be me free sa region chrono but nana who say necessary say o so bia nya sa akonya no na ma obia tim ko school na ma first parent where den hare o se na be ya ese uni bi cramp abetim ba ko school jama se on prinso in fact no pay example ma and I do so sani ma menu wi o compare just only these two things cramp say jama na poor cra
okay
na very poor honestly inti Ghana for na sasa no say o ma hu say I say Ghana for your short term residence no omo mboso so wabetia nanado bosses is here no omo ro no because akaka yo that is what we too have to do say emre bi atwem no say na mo de bae na kanya agenkwa na do ya agenkwa o wabe Ghana for we fi with all the crisis ye the light mu free ye bi so free ne ma be I say
na amanfo di nsuo no e hye da gu omo ho na omo gina abanti no omo dware e kire say omo free water
oh Ghana for me say am say omo bia nka ibium no mo kai say e da wi bae nenam some crisis bi so global crisis bi so na akoba ni say with all regardless enyema be yes and be say same bium but ye think say sanko echi bium what you say hwe Ghana ye history pa anka ye ka transformation a akosa ka end Ghana
Okay.
From Ronnie's time, PNDC as the NDC. Omunya Kunya say they can transform Ghana to become something else. But for all that your opportunities Omunya Ninano, Umitimanya she what you say? Kufo bae no pese sani memu. Na nema e koye mu na osanka ye ma obi betua so no. Ya mani pa metua so.
And a mistake. Na say kufo mre no. Amanfo ka say aban na nya ade. Okowie say kufo ye hero.
Say na Ghana 40. Enema na nye na obae na obaye enema no. First na NHIS. Kwana de bae. Kufo na de bae. Ye ka social interventions ni social we bia. Ina hem before initiative no de bae. What you say? Na kufo bae no ndwuma obaye ni obaye to ho no. Later Ghana for say enye ti ko fa obi from ra. Nipa de bae no mbe hu na adwuma. A obaye ye. Mbe hu ne ma ye course. Na esa se mu. Sisi anu o hwa hye ye da ho sisi a ye kwe nim sei no. Although say o tie kan the policies of the bae anka enne the perfect policies are sanka the twaso yet can the party ni mu on fi mu ye say Dr. Bawumia Bawumia so hwa so a oro na the transition you know da no a always in my ide e kwese ne sikoi etu ka so ka fa ndc ni biaba anaso ka fo biaba no be ka say 24-hour economy a ono ni nja so bia na na so hwe say Ghana ya say ye say yakofa drive bia obi di ye fuedu baby papa ni poro ba so dey wa beti asan cause onim na oko what you say uti o kom kite sa okuja to abrakwa say obe kan nsem bi wo social media about 24-hour economy what me say nsem kan nyina onim da so bia onim nia oiden all kan because obi kan say 24-hour economy na hu experience obi say express no obi say capital be adwuma 24 hours obi o ye we be adwuma weather be adwuma 24 hours. It doesn't make sense. Just say, the transition, no, we short them cramp. I'm say covered by a crown and senior cramp. No, most of the shipping lines and other agencies now, almost fee, no more use some phone, nobody here business. Then you be free. Inti, what you compare? Fancy, how do you call it? Nanado, any Jomama. Only you say if you crab.
I see.
Nanado is far better than Jomama.
All right, so Nanado is far better than Muhammad. Nana ima beba muhaka krana. Enen ye nche bebre na mom ye bebi sasese no Nanado is better than Mahama. Bawumia says he is a mate. No, he mate. Nanado success na o kan ho bi ni failure ano ba bi wo ho a Nanado no wontie no allegedly. Enti onka ye Ghana forma na kwanya nanka ne Nanado ye na wantimi anya nwie no. Ono Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia emra nanka o meye emfiri ho na bibia nye de enye successful. Ozu se Nanado ekoyi Bawumia ba obetimi ahwe nachi ana Mahama akotena fia asua nhoma no omra ana yempe new face na yenchira no ne Nanado ye no na ono so fa new development emeka ne Nanado ye no e de na betimi abo ama Ghana yetimi move forward.
Okay, new force there and can ye bad new force there and can ye bad cry. HSA we share Ghana your system now. The woman you used to 8 years. Ghana for and China nipa ho afro. And China nipa ho afro. They always want to see new things. They always want to see new things. And it's a third force be wo honma wo mu ye capable. Nana go nana come. Na be e kofa youth. Onu so betumi e the youthful program aba. Betumi di abetwa Nanado dear soa. And can you bad? This after all, Dr. Bawumia so governors were one. And near me, I say, your brandy no so or chantro. So you bet me I and wire. Me did be a mecassa and you bet me I and wire. Now say, yen ye feel say, you bet me I and wire near so the food for Babanamo dear to Mudia fine. But Mimi Chidi say, a Kayanya new force. Yenya vibrant youth. Or bet me Eddie Ninai as you form because new ma Nanado external shocks no want to mean Jinano. Say ya strong hand beer. Ebeye to say and rat dear noir. those people who can say no to certain external shocks. These are the people we need for now. And yet, status quo as usual. Na ye betwaso. Say any sir. Hey, you too much because still no the pockets no problem no beba ho. We need some initiatives, sir. Yet take care. Be reflected in our pockets. So let's look for any alternatives. One year NDC, 1 year MPP. Now come metwaso.
Okay.
Yes. On your NDC, on your MPP. Because we are denting who, we are denting who. We accusing in Yanko, we accusing in Yanko.
Yes.
As a Uko Hawe see, as a Uko Hawe say. Inti, the best thing is Sinka, Yama and live. Mianuni na entrance. Na Yamfa, new blood, new force, Emra. Ghana 40 Asia, and Kabaya fine, papa.
Okay.
And Kebe Boye. Put your say.
Okay.
Then I say we are starting on a clean notes, clean slate.
Okay.
Ni pano, ni ode pano. That person will be able to pick policies from NDC, policies from MPP, and he will be able to give appointments for MPP and NDC and CPP and UP and GUM.
Then he will say no to the external forces.
Bringing all the capable people together.
Like I said, all inclusive government.
Now I hear inclusive government.
Okay.
Tisenia, once upon a time, Ike Agyapong, Kutu Agyapong, he tried doing a union a union government.
Okay.
Yenya obi obetimi the union government aba. Akebeye fantastic. Because we have the men aye kano.
Okay.
Yes. You have the men aye kano. And money ye yentina we keep on saying we have the men, we have the men.
Okay.
We have the men in MPP. We have the men in NDC. We have the men in GUM. We have the men in Mr. What do you call it? That fine fair gentleman, Mr. Walker.
Okay.
And the others.
Mama Yarga and other stuff.
Mama Yarga, even who can bring a unique gopher, it's going to unite the nation. It's going to unite the economy. And we should be able to tolerate each other.
Oh, okay.
We should fight for a union government. Because say when Musha say feel say ye dear nebaso. Then tribal lines say ko ye dear mu say mu nka ho biom. Those things no, it will all die down. It will all die down.
Oh, okay.
Ghana 40 mia. Ghana 40 mia. Yasuanso aswansa yehunia emu yedo ni ayehu ye no ni aye ka ho asemi nti akakwe yegbese eye nkrafo kasa.
Okay.
Nti ye koso ahwe ewo gbese kakwa ye nkwakoso ahwe no ye try new force.
Okay.
Na new force na embra. New force definitely but for the youth.
Yes.
Because Siano, with all the good things that Nanado has done, what the youth need is job. We need the new force that can create jobs.
Okay.
And any new force that can create jobs, let's go for that.
Okay. Mr. Cromon and Naima Kain. Na before me jaw no wo se nana go nana camps na omo pa bazizu obi en ho de nana ayi ye wo alanchremanten ye mfrene nana ye mo frene nana chief ye wo gum chirabosom ye mfrene nana John Dramani Mahama ye mfrene nana Bawumia ye mfrene nana Anana no bri bo anya asem na okan because nana bri bo anya se okoti ne party o.
Se okoti ne party ono so ye nana bri bo anya. Ono so wa beye bi. Wono so ono kra na meka se opa Dr. Bawumia ho ntoma. Pa emia nyina hu ni ambition and ni seriousness to really come Well, inti se nana obri boahi. Edi nioma papa ba no ye nana. Is why not? But the new force eye nana Kwame Bediako se oyobia Ghanaians behu what is in this young man. Na aka won be rally around no. Me de bia me ka say to err is human. To forgive is divine. Me name ni shortfalls, but with policies ana manifesto okita obetimi di aboye. If it is okay, it's youthful. Why don't we rally around him and give him the nod? Naka wombra, yes, no yeah inclusive government. Because young as he is, no, I'm sure say onwa betumi ehu. Onwa betumi ehu the need to bring the capable people on board. Okay. Now, wow, who say when we can help us to get to our destination. And Nana go Nana come no. It can be Nana Kwame. Okay. Or no bediaku, a dino bediaku no. Akumu near one. Okay. So no ba bediaku. And just say a dana kwemu. Ghana for you incrophobia, nipa bia me can say, din pass ye change at home. We hardly accept change. Also, so this time around, we're going to stop our MPP and NDC because the NDC and MPP is a traditional. The way people worship MPP and NDC is a tradition. Someone tells me that, or someone told me that you're trying to moja NDC moja and a bedding. Ebeba. Obisu Kachi say, trying to honor MPP moja and a bedding. Ebeba. So, how can you convince these people to go out there and vote for this person? MPP, ewo mojem, NDC, ewo mojem, CPP, ewo mojem, eno die eyampa. But eme dania na osuwa danibi. Sebi, when you pick a good candidate, eno nche say, wumpesa o party. Maybe Ada give him time in point in time no. Nipa your die hard party no. Edi ba no. Ebia wo say ebia enya de ono ni policies no betumi aboa. Na politics no, it should be dynamic. Okay. We should be able to change as and when. We should be able to vote for people based on what they are bringing on board. If you say ye tnafa ko ni say ya anti say ya ne kwa edu baby ebe haye because ebedu baby no somebody from nowhere obetimi aba ni omo peso odi ba no ebe boaye e wo say edu samre no ani adane uko UK ni ade a obehu nkwafo wo hono mu a wo mu labor port ye dia wo mu a but e wo ho na ye the candidate bi ba na sa candidate no ni o man and this obetimi aye say dia we dia be boaye obehu say na quickly no na they go and vote for that person na nipa na aba na ne obeye no nipa na aye enti se oye na e bia ye hwe no first second na say oh ni awaye ne de ye ni e ko vote bi o ma no asa vote ono ani old party no onim no because e bia na sa time no nipa na nya correct candidate ya ana odi man on manifesto ni program odi ba no ebeboa enti na ehwo no ne edi na hye. We shouldn't be static in politics. Me and Cassie, you yenti say ye di obipa times and seasons. Yet to me the obiba udie no mono enche ye. Okay. And no nche say no nti u be chinchan u de no beko. Na u de no cotton na amfa. Na u kwa na sa oba na u di yaw e na u di tifie. Okay. Ti me die me advice ne say ye hu MPP, ye hu NDC. Let's go for the new force. Someone told me say MPP ni NDC no Mr. Kromo. Was he MPP ni NDC no? We are this party that you say I say maybe na meso normal no. Ghana's normal na mabre wa bre. Enti say wo ba na wo ba be jeme a. Wo de me kwa koduru ba bia nka ma hu say o ma mu ni nyina hu say oh ba bia waduru die. Waji awie. Afa wo tamo beso no. No wasan yasan wachi. Waba no waba baby a wobaje me no bipo na nka we ntimi mfo no
na Sunday no mana be so am na waja hokọ me da ase me kọ because NDC kọ na see NDC mahama obi mpeni din kra yeden eti especially region like Ashanti region wo ya NDC ni na wonam ho a anhwe obi kra di media de yeden ebo otirim keke wo hye NDC atare a omo mpe wasem kra yeden eti all because of doom so stop beer or generator and that is the short form of John Dramani Mahama but no so ye normal when we the other nanka yeden boa eba infrastructure ne nasefo a na oye bibisa oko ye na na Dubai no no mo IMF na na ma unemployment yeden ebaye now IPP came no omo ba beje Ghana fofuru ho esanso ko create bibisa IMF ne yefiri ho vim enti yefiri ye start say ye fankrofo na na ya ye womi Ghana fo asen akọ IMF e kire say employment ayeden afreezy because someone told me last year that DJ ye be for adwuma just op 7,000 but onya sa ya mfawa next year they are not going to employ anybody because they are going to what IMF enti na che say ABCD na ye start ye no aye koduru wa no ya sen ya ba be start ABCD. Do you think we can develop this country going this way?
You what the as me pa aso be say with the mood but to be very honest and sincere end this time no Joama all kona kasa no ono biere nim kan e kan sem bi o say ore na mana yeden mana ka dompe inti Ghana to for no bibia anim inti MVP Nanado came to inherit empty coffers no patch okay obekaya MVP apembi su no yeko Epic na Dr. Safma be ye fi Epic mu
okay
obi ye fi Epic mu no na msa mambu say ekoso yi okay na ko 4 time no enti ne ma ekoyia fine ko 4 be fi su na other party buy no na eko IMF
okay
ti eko IMF no so no eko bre home na mbi kroya so sabe be yi fi mu
okay
yeah but na conditions are no na no shi na ne ba ni say ade a ema MPPC eko IMF no na eye global crisis ne ma eko home conditions na ho no it is the first no
and I say this so beka the same thing
beka the same thing
omo de enzo beka say Ebola buy
bacho pi Ebola no na nye first world epidemic
but IMF bia IMF COVID-19 so Ghana for bia beje to me say MPP benefited hugely from COVID-19 because Ghana for a donation World Health Organization WOD sika buy amaya would be braid the sika buy even up to now we still pay COVID tax oko portal they still take COVID tax COVID deben tax and the last time I hear interview one crowd testing who say these things are going on and not just you tia yeka and say what the COVID in as for bam dia and as speaking mean to me and you and I say therefore and to me meju ni say COVID team e call IMF
na kasaba say conditions o ko IMF na ye ma conditions bi na ni nyina no it depend upon management skills bia conditions any man say bia sign document we sign we no MVP no hwema ye ko ye bibia ye condition dey attach no ye bia it mean ka say condition we yem anything this are omo condition be mo bia no maso
okay
what you say eti na ma e ho na ye akoyedi
and you person say MPP IMF condition no e wo form
flexibility say NCDM
and it me for workers
exactly it for workers no but me sure o ka bi say ko peduma is it 7,000 is it 5,000 so that's can go to your mind individual be or ho na dey logistics can Argentina institutions now on Mojiscano as our mind implement. Argentina intimi first head of
say a Germany be ni ho and say before so be be na say utua bi
bribe 7,000 obi a for police now we go police ejuma o ya be ejuma to na go tua bribe ejuma o go start no go tua bribe e be na ejuma start here that's a education man anya bribe na obaji
Okay.
Offer to crop up because of what you are right. What I say, Sunday man will not say if you want. Into individuals name for now, omodi size can. No say, na sanko for the obey. If he first human, na a kind of home. A home or any funny part. And this will be a chapter of assignment employment. A very bad. What I say, me man be a prepare, man is way. Because we have Bema bribe or by the bribe. Or by no, for the human assassin. Nothing to survive, see, and feel baby, no, next day,
I see. Nana, you must say, or say the new force bar. Nano bribe wine. A year cheddar, Nana Kwame. Sir, Nano bribe wine, the Becas or Uncle Crafully in Mukakra, or you were did that or your position at check. Nana Kwame, John Boya, meaning this will be 45 years, crumple. Nancy Jumedia, what do you need success, say, Kitana and Yadikitwa? What to me, so Rebegina said, or Beso Koji or my Ghana, new policies. Bawumia nyamfa ne manifesto emba abonten. Saa nipa miensa we John Dramani Mahama, Alan Shremanten, Nana Kwame Cheda, ena Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Why no you say emfa nemra? Oni nana imaya you say yemfa new force mra. And now you say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to us.
Very well. Me kasim ga kribia fa Nana Kwame bidia kun fense ni ehungakra. At least Osha in his private life he has done far even better.
Okay.
At his age, say, or 41 years, and now he has done far better at that age than former president, late president Lawrence.
Okay.
For age 41 years, any guy with achievement, you know, far better.
Okay.
John Dramani Mahama, and Nanado Akufa, Nana Adonkwa Akufado.
Okay.
With his age, you know, the achievement, you know, a very great. Oshe Nema Bueno with my vision. No, first say, that you know when you are doing beer, I say, oh yeah. But with all these things, you know, no become a be a lifestyle be anyway be oh man. Obu ha on to say be or man the president. But I said I man you can't assassin me. But me modie to very fair party. Akinya obi aga I first say or be at his age. Now shall only Dr. Bawumia no see omo youthful and meet me there. First say it me I dey I big akra. I'm all mine. Now compare knowledge and this guy lifestyle ni we what we say Bawumia so ahead kakra in terms of knowledge any friends experience seen Nana Kwame.
Okay.
Just see Nana Kwame have a diverse style because of the Baobeji Mabu.
Okay.
Fi Kwasuni we be intermediate sad nipa me nu we several seniors so emding kakra. What I say yemi pinipa ozasi yemi pinipa nti Dr. Bawumia ene sa young guy we mienu na first time bianca first Ghana for be prayer practice just like chom toba nyi first JDM ne others ni film
sir
na commune pe nanka
na o kan ni die ne experience dey here anka John Dramani Mahama dey na nkomo nyina nkomo nto no because was starting for assembly man DC minister MP and I just wa fa ni nyina ma ba vice assembly president
me pacho
pi
Joama me passe me kan se me bri oye mbushoni aka mepe o ti ase oye mbapa kra aka mepe na first oye assembly man.
Okay.
Obi onya chance first free school.
Okay.
Na pa ye MCU say DC.
Okay.
O certificate man orazi ya be obeye pin.
Okay.
Tasiye. Onya position previously.
Okay.
Bisa wo say eden adepa na gwa motimi di ye ebo ono an community. Ono ani kum.
Waye bibi a ebia wote abole bamboy wonim ho ebia waye bibi na Ghana so we president bibi sa enye wo location nkwa na wo ye you save the whole nation
me can't a bro be president you. Obey president Grandpa say first you. Oh yes, man, you. Onye Benyam Nisa appointment NDC for all the years ni obey a vice crown nature crown say okoto jet bi ono ani president crown say omo yewi omo say omo investigate no o ti ase nti obi a corruption ahye ni mafti ni crowd bem die ono de o ka say bi experience be no bi o experience bi a corruption side o ti ase me o share ni experience bi a if say o so much dynamic person bi a obi owo something special and that his news of between that ball man.
I see.
No, that I don't see that in the mama.
But you dear, you think Nanado so far so good has done his best?
Oh
that yes. That mean bonus so but in the next years, you know, you best say President be by a friend Nanado obey be na wa yade pa.
Oh, with the say me Bobby Timaka. Share me mau be the next 5 or 6 years. Ubo you fa be ba house because say na do anka. Ke menya sa kwanya we. Hwe obi ho na do ntotumi choro din o. Obi ho na do ntotumi choro enidin ana ye ne mebi. Na do anka. Sani pa no. What I say? Enti na do ye nema wa ye no. Mpacho unprecedented.
Okay.
But just ye na intimi mo de ru. Ona ye ka say me ko phone su a. Because be am phone too much. Maybe I'm casting another way, why, but a brain woman was yes, I mean.
Who to say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, why would near one way or the other? Because whenever he's talking, he'd be like, Nanado gave me this platform. And indeed, it was Nanado who gave him that platform.
Yes.
Would you say, Nanado, Bawumia, and yet faithful to Nanado? Because of say or so or no about better. Na yi no so appointment ni bibia wo so obete so na ministers awade o mo ba be ye adwuma krompo no he's going to reduce the ministers and blah blah blah. Do you think say Bawumia is disservice to Nanado?
No, not to the sense Nanado is president Bawumia is vice so wakaya Bawumia oba ba ye Nanado vice no Nanado no kofa no as vice president.
Yes.
No, I found as vice no.
Yes. Ethiopia.
I found say o me kan hono me den o mu ambu no. Na enyo no ye o sie affairs. On be to take decision say bia ye pese ye we. Na me maka say bia o we o to ase ya enye ye nti ye fan enye ni sei. Nana do pa obefa opa onfa. You are no man advice in that. What I say, and he say, decision another unfunny decision. Naso na ye na dia, and on any be na dia. Neck and yet, but man, I said,
okay,
because my car crown point, say, Jama, one of the taxes, not the taxes, no, but I can say, you live, you know, or say, Darby, one pencil, but yes, no, almost position of first upon us. And I've been first mobile phone tax. He said that it is for the poor, so they shouldn't tax it. But the cabinet, when they want to under cabinet, and they were able to initiate it. And this is Nana, Bawumia, or support. He feels his style will be different, and he will be that leader to know. Say, I need these moderate ministers. I need this to be put in place, or I need this task to be removed. And he can definitely ever do that.
I see.
Yeah.
At your for Jumadina Mediani DJ, I wait to me from social media ambassador. No washe na odia my uyu bia or Accra Kumasi and Amampon. Tibu Buamantin, Nase Opese Ope Jumaya, Ejuma Ababeda, winning moto chia, Nase way driver, bra, na Yamo Konya, na Mr. Atakra, our pizza zone, the CEO pizza zone. Or no abruchino or tin or forward Jumasi Amo baby then Atana. This winning moto chi winning car chia or your motor rider bra for application bra now CV Fabra and forward Jumane in your practice. Moto Nyana Betoyane Betamon. Baby Abedania do not be DBID. Obeying Ubenian free. Numbers in a good screen so far not free. Number is 0240778682 0240778682. Branch is in a biwa Jura a biwa Mampon and a bisu Accra. enche kura techima ye beduru ho pizza no so de de papa pizza so de odi ana de ase benye pizza nko che se nuane bi e ton bi e den e wo ho ope kwan atu kwan so a konya wo ho mo am pese mutu kwan ko Australia ene Canada no madam one so de moko free is it for o CV o ye mechanics a enswentwen so kura meka se wie na fa number na ye dey free 0240778682 na fa CV ye den ebra na fa certificate e che se wo ye mechanics ne den fa bra na ye fa wadwuma na ye mo wadwuma na so ko ye adwuma wa brochire na daache wo so abetwe wa busua na so aye nipa kese na ayesi a ya mfre wonu aketwa na mbo na mane ansa na obi aka che se ayesi mu fi o je ze woni skandi na ya mbo abane hu se wo ye bo amane kra hwe nye de emfri mu ma Canada so de eno an se wo do application aba na aba na madam one aboa na so watimi akọ Mr. Kromo ye hwe ni sei na na do aye njuma bebre o se enche wo de tracker obe launch ne tracker ewo match ana se memu na ni juma de bia wadi no o boss wa che se juma wo ha location ne ka ho na anko e say green book na omo ye den omo ye na NDCV amanfo na do say a by president before you implement something even though you are the boss but then you go on cabinet meetings. Cabinet has to accept decisions before you go ahead to implement it. Do you think he was referring to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's mate issue?
Well, as Nanado being the president, or no, take the final decision. Cabinet, it be meaty. You know, home damodie, but cabinet make me meaty. Take decision. Say they have cabinet in cabinet. After decision can be changed and twist. What I say? Inti enyanya ebia yebeka wa hase no. And I beka cabinet meeting no say ya can say no see na omode ko. It can be another cabinet meeting with few people they will take decision say this is how we want it. Na president Jitu so obia so tin kan bia bio.
Oh, okay. Na kwa me ye nim se be ba so da foforo bi na ye time no ko ye nye ne fa program ni na do akasa wie na ye hwe na kwa me cheda utusu se at this moment ye hia ni force obitimi aboa ama mabunu no wati esu frɛ no hu ye ne hayen na se onu so ba beduru na ekoye te se nam wan de bi na obeskame ya eno so ye be ne dey
unu say make say ebia me kan ni who research akra say in terms of life obobra 41 years with his achievement it cannot be compared to any of the former president and even the current president what you say and the lifestyle no so ade wo ho and also amafo debate won bebre fine if you say new force good a very young, vibrant, intelligent. But the lifestyle alone, on a writing them off. It's because the two of them, what about any new force, this took me anyway. Wow, bet me a bomb wouldn't bet me winning. And can ye your mama film. Then we can pay maybe the I'm not saying maybe penny, but I won't fight for Nana Kwame so much. I'm a full Sabia with the experience Dr. Hassan Anka GhanaFirst trying and any credibility.
Obia testing me message say Mr. Kromo what from one say Nana Kwame baby this na say ba say MPP for mo say akọ second term easy some beji power sense some beji power friend this in some enye sa ade we na da wotrim ti na ma wo say ye nyi mahama mfiri na emfa we mra and zen ka experience there mahama say na me di kan no or experience be brave.
Mama experience be only credibility in terms of whatever he has under his sleeves. He doesn't have any plan. He doesn't have any future for the country. Yeah.
Okay. I see. All right. At you for Ocean was subscribing na share na all the amay na ye wrap it up na ye the ye nkomo no asi. Enche kra na him aso de ne last week be ba beto na che say ye wrap it up na ya close. Anyame adoma ene anwumre Yebesan so aba dwumadie no so biem. O hwe dwumadie no subscribe na wahye na ode amai. Aha. Rejoice 101.7 Rejoice Media TV. Obi bi o hwe bia no Nyankopon enhira. Nana hima ye wrap it up. Nana hima ye wrap it up. Ebra ye ba be koi. Ye nim se cheda maka na asem ye be uram pa na ya hwe ni dwuma opese won be di wasase so. Nana hima at this time ye ba be koi. Asem na wo ka kire Ghana for. Nana do aserve war. Ni dwumadi a wodidi wodi ni pepepe. Na edi ntina yenkofo Nana Kwame Cheda na edi ntina wodi osusese new force bama abeboa na wa wrap up edi aman.
Yo nyeti America sa ne se fi se wo hwe Ghana tisi ano yemfo bianka na sem bebre ni ne ho enkoye NDC MPP me supporting fee MPP. I'm still with MPP. But me who say politics no, it should be dynamic. So support we now ye member. And no just say obi ba no nipa no utumi who say nipa no so betumi I make it positive impact. Who support na wrong. I don't think say wrong. Okay. Me ka say Dr. Bawumia enye. Nia Dr. Bawumia be ye no wayo. Ye nyina ye hu. Ena senya nkrofo be branding no so ma branding no. Media me kan frahye ne se nioma papa wa ye no anka onkoji na home.
Okay.
So beba after obiaba na nado echi a nipa na anya yie no wa surface ni nyina ka se Dr. Digita papa we no di economy ni ye say enti yemfa ne mra wotima se media sa na me ka fia ahyase but se Ghana force empathy force say ya no pedia na party for but yen hwe se kwa ya fa so di Dr. Bawumia ba ye no wo hwe sa kwa no so handful of people one party mu na de ne ba ya main elections no hwa ne akonya difficulty wotima se so why the worry? So why don't we then try a third force? So I'm still talking about this third force because Ghana for a year wo margin say womu walking away from NDC MPP for now 2025 no woma usher in a new phase with new ideas for a change in politics. Okay, it's not a bad idea.
I see. Mr. Kromo me bacho before say Nana him abechi out of wa my corner also so last words are also so oka the church for
yo it's for media me come adwin pa de Dr. Bawumia ye do pa e penasem na sisia no ono ye candidate or sisia edwuma no waye na obaso san ye bi de eto aso eboa Ghana me ibehu ni credibility na mehu ni lifestyle kakra new force ono so yehu fence ni ndwuma waye at his age 41 years me kra menyem kwata kra mpobda nti fence Ghana for ma ko menuwi se dem to sinani a na mohwe yehu se nipa we be yaman ba me dem ntimi yiwo bia ntimi kase bia mpewei anase mpewei ba me hwe doctor dia na ka mu se he has the experience, he has the the dynamics and the lifestyle. And now I'm in the lifestyle na Naija. And I'm quite convinced that say only more dear, but to say fencing yendege very deep. Ebeshe ni ahwe yi na later no. Esa back there the adventure aba abetu. Na you true support akubi oseko.
All right. No watch out of four also unimo.
Me de check se pa ma Joyce Media TV. Me damasi. Omodi kan body ru afa fencing no bebre hu. But do na be pizza no san kan e na na hima.
Pizza in Srokra.
O ma me bi. Ya insokra is dey say o kan mi ti be bia no. Na hima Madam One ono so nyamishia no. Any sa akonya kesi a ode man nanado nso so me bona basum dase ndanyamasi so wote mana hodin ejira na so ama station nation address papa bi ama atonko faso no kan nyina so eto asum minchia so ko ma Bawumia na min ja hokra no ye pen bi a ono die ka oba de ka Ghana fo nyina ka bi asai ne Ohene Kanaji Agyapong e fa ba ko pe ono die so kono ko wini di anka bibie wu kra
ani wa bu be man di be ma ba ko pa ka Ghana no
minchia kese ko pa ma mara bo dusu minchia o
opia na so just fo nyina akore ko dem
na mi remfi faithfuls na minchia faithfuls omna mo taken de chi ye djumebri wusumasi na mo fa da na ye shedan yi nim yang say ye t-shirt be 1000 plus na ani na madam one ono an kotokum na minchia no pa anti efense etifo mdamasi edin besi e besa bada wofo biom na ya be kire adwen afa efense na kwame bidiakun ene honorable efense Excellency Dr. Bawumia so ono so ne ahwe na ya ton mienu no na Ghana afa ne toma pafra dachi mabu no muntia na yebre no muntia na madam asa na dachi ni sika ne dey sane mo nyina you just be the TV da masnya mishira no ni eduma pa mo yema Ghana mama hodin na on shemuden so
all right yeah that's so oni edun kuma nana ma we dey yemra so madam Mr. Kromo ache we dey na adru so me pa che wo ani di adofo ben na o che o na o last first name ko
yeah mida obi bia se mida Rejoice TV asi
okay
say wo mama yen konya we ya dia adwuma ayedin enso adwuma ayedin
no correct
na ye gidie ni say nyame bema ni papa na wawi ni
no correct
midi ntia kese edi mami kunu
okay
His Excellency Dr. Joseph Agu
okay
chiano chia Honorable Kennedy Agyapong
okay
enima Christy na Mastella won baby on wo bia nyame enhyira wo ni sa chia ya mam penin darling boy His Excellency Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo
okay
yeah we are very appreciative of Nanado enioma papa wa ye nyina ye ni so ye ni ji edenya kupona se for ni nkwa eni baby odini abedu edenya mi ase ema ni yire eni ni ba obi biara oye adwuma ema no Dr. Bawumia kro ka no ho kra ono so ye denase na ye ya ade ne se ye pe nia obetumi akọ no odi Ghana akọ bebia fata
okay
eni bebia se ye fa kwan paso ya ade a ye nyina ye di gidie bi nim se ebekọ yie me ka ne se no na me kire se me chia the youngest president
okay
incoming
okay
ono so ne gidie ne se wono so beba beboa Ghana eye Nana Kwame Bidiako
okay
na mema nani that's what
okay
nani
nani so adi hunu no okay
eye papa ema Ghana no
okay
na mema ni emremu no ontumi meye adi papa ema ye
okay
ye sachia empanimfo bia wo ma ewo Ghana ho do na wo mu da adwen nyina eye Ghana asem si ade bebi a yedum ye hu NDC ye hu MPP ni aye hia ni empanimfo a Ghana da wo makoma so
okay
it can come from any quarters media sana ni hunu nti ma Ghana for enye static enka se ha ne wo ye nti ha ya ne ewu ama
okay
new force betumi aba betumi abegiye na yakoye nim as a country di enu na me whisper egu Ghanaians asum
I see
me do bibia ohwe ade we asi nye adwen oni bi na yedi ye but do bebia eye dia yɛfrɛ mmarima
nokre
nti yɛdu baabi a ɛyɛ den a wɔsi yɛhwɛ na neɛ yɛ a ɛne yɛbɛkɔ bɔhyɛ asase no so ne yɛayɛ.
I see. Yɛbɛda madam wan ase sɛ ɔno ɛne yɛdi nkɔmmɔ na ɔno so nya adagye ɛba adwuma no so momi yɛso yɛbɛda wo ase sɛ wo so wanya adagye ɛne wo sacrifice ne mmɔde mu bia a wobɔ ɛde boa Rejoice Media TV yɛda wo ase sɛ woba dwumadi nsi na mi sɛ New Force Nana Kwame wo dwumadi a wodi ɔno so ɔbɛyɛ den ɔbɛte tiefo wo hwɛ no subscribe na wa share aha Rejoice Media TV ɛne madam one Mr. Kromo and the Common State of the Nation's address. Nanyamia Doma, Numre, Yabasia Boa Quam, and I say Amboa Quam Crochina, Yabeba, na Kennedy Honsem, Nana Kwame, Cheddar. Honsem, if you say Americo, Yabe, fanning some near PP, near Chro, Amo Nipa, Nana Kwame, Eye, and Nana Kwam Bidiacon, Eye, and a Quam Faso, Edi ye, a man for so a scammer, a man for so ye say. Unimo bia enko gina baabi nsɛi ne din kwan ofa so nya ne sika ade tender age no na wadi menye sika beduru nnɛ na ne dwumadie wɔ Africa nyinaa no na wo vision sɛ obɛgye Africa no ye bɛkyerɛ wɔn ne Ghana ni a tiger anasa jata ne pet ayete sɛ ne kraman a wo ne fie no